Waterford.
Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Liz Reddy. Today's top stories. Lisa Smith is to be charged with membership of a terrorist organisation. The School of Business team at Waterford IT has won out against 45 other institutions to get research funding of €3.5 million. The brother of a woman missing from Waterford for almost 26 years says he'll never give up searching. And in sport, Jurgen Klopp will be hoping for his 100th Premier League win in tonight's Merseyside derby. Lisa Smith has appeared in court charged with membership of a terrorist organisation. The court heard the 38-year-old woman made no reply when the charge was put to her at Kevin Street Garda station this morning. Gardaí successfully objected to bail on a number of grounds. Ms Smith has been remanded to Docus Women's Prison to appear again on December 11th. Darragh Murphy's been accused of having been an absentee TD following his resignation from the Dáil. The Fine Gael deputy left to take up a job with the European Commission. Our political correspondent Sean Defoe reports.
Darragh Murphy was in Leinster House last night to vote confidence in the Housing Minister Owen Murphy. It turned out to be his last act as a TD as he handed in his resignation letter to the Lascount Corda just minutes later. His attendance and participation in the Dáil over the last 2 years has drawn criticism from the Fianna Fáil leader Micheál Martin.
He effectively became an absentee TD while still drawing a full salary.
Murphy said he'll cooperate with any investigation into him, though it's unclear whether that can be done now that he's no longer a member of the Oireachtas. Leo Varadkar has said it would be wrong to prejudge his actions.
There should be a proper investigation. It shouldn't be prejudged. He is willing to provide information and documents to the Ethics Committee or to SIPO, or if for some reason they can't do that because he's a former member, he's willing to do that and submit to the Clerk of the Dáil.
That's something Micheál Martin wasn't buying.
Former Deputy Darragh Murphy's behaviour has fundamentally breached the code of conduct for members in that he betrayed the trust placed in him.
Few in Leinster House were surprised at the resignation, and Darragh Murphy started his new job in Europe today. Sean Defoe, Leinster House.
The School of Business team at Waterford Institute of Technology has been awarded €3.5 million to study unemployment algorithms. The research is led by Dr Ray Griffin, who says the project aims to address concerns about how data is being used in the labour market.
If you sign on today, your data goes into an algorithm and it decides what happens to you. So in Ireland, that is whether you go into JobsPath or not. So these algorithms are really important and we don't know a lot about them. So my work, and with my colleagues, is to figure out, can we make these algorithms ethical?
He says everyone is concerned or should be worried about how algorithms and big data is being used.
The PECS algorithm that's used in the Irish Department of Social Protection doesn't really work. So it's not a good predictor of whether you need JobPath or not. So it's about making these better, but also making them more based on consent of the users whose data flows into them. A lot of people are very concerned about the data that companies like Amazon, Facebook and Apple have on us. It's much more concerning when the state uses it to determine mandatory service like social protection.
The brother of a woman missing from Waterford for almost 26 years says he'll never give up searching. Imelda Keenan vanished from William Street on January 3rd, 1994. She was 22 years old. A commemorative ceremony takes place in Dublin today as part of National Missing Persons Day. Imelda's brother Jerry Keenan believes there's people out there with vital information about her.
I always said I would never give up. Never give up. I'm doing it for the family. As long as I have a breath in my body, I will keep on searching and campaigning for some information on Imelda. But I do think that there is someone, maybe 2 or 3 people in Waterford are holding back vital information. I'd love them to come forward with the news today, tomorrow. Tomorrow's never too late for me. I'm still waiting 26 years later.
A public information event takes place in Tramore tomorrow about plans to redevelop the town centre. Last November, Waterford Council was allocated €1.35 million from the Urban Regeneration Fund to develop the town centre. The plans include partial pedestrianisation of the main street and new communal areas. Tomorrow's event in the library is from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Sinn Féin's Jim Griffin says it's important the public and businesses are kept informed.
The one thing
thing as a councillor I'm constantly talking to the City Council about is to make sure that we have one more public consultation for Tramore, for the businesses and the people, so we can reassure them that it's in their interest to get what their concerns out to the council to make this transition, the public realm works for everybody, that it's smooth and that it goes to plan.
Jim Griffin says the footpaths in the area are in a bad state.
And the public realm works will address an awful lot of that. The overhead wires that kind of take that lovely vista of the front strand, that will be all addressed from O'Neill's right down to the VB straw. And it's an exciting time for Tramore.
A demonstration to highlight homelessness takes place in Waterford tomorrow. The event will start from John Roberts Square at 5 p.m. before walking to City Hall. Activist Sue Larkin is one of the organisers. She spoke to Marie McCann on Daysha today.
People can't take any more of the way the housing crisis is affecting ordinary people, affecting people's children. You're looking at 50 Waterford families up for eviction on average every week, 1,200 on the housing list on Waterford City Council, and that's excluding the hidden homeless, the people who are living in overcrowded situations in their mothers and fathers' houses with their children.
The Waterford president of the Irish Pharmacy Union has warned that rural pharmacies could be forced to close if cuts proposed by the Department of Health are imposed. Dungarvan pharmacist Dara Connolly says the cuts would cost a minimum of €12,000 a year and hit certain areas hardest.
Those pharmacies are going to be pharmacies in rural, isolated and deprived areas. And the big shame about this is that those are areas that already are lacking access to GPs, to practice nurses, and there's lots of people there who have to travel to bigger centres to get their healthcare needs catered for.
Dara Connolly says he's meeting Minister Simon Harris tomorrow.
It's not a Christmas present any of us are looking forward to. So I'm looking forward to meeting the Minister for Health on Thursday to explain to him the value he already knows that exists in community pharmacy. And instead of there being cuts, we actually need investment in community pharmacy, because we're one of the parts, maybe the only part of the healthcare system that's working really well in delivering for patients.
WLR Sport.
Jurgen Klopp will be hoping for his 100th Premier League win in tonight's Merseyside derby. His Liverpool side come into the game with an 8-point lead at the top of the table. By contrast, Everton are struggling in 17th with manager Marco Silva under pressure. Klopp, though, says poor form can happen to any team in the top tier.
Go through the Everton squad, then I would say, well, that's a really good squad, and nobody denies that, not Marco, nobody. It's just why it's not clicking 100% so far, I don't know really. A lot of pressure there, obviously. Everton is a very ambitious club, rightly so.
Kick-off at Anfield is at 8:15. Also tonight, Jose Mourinho takes Spurs to visit his old club. The action gets underway against Manchester United at Old Trafford at 7:30. That's also the start time for tonight's 4 other games, including Chelsea's clash with Aston Villa. High-flying Leicester City welcome Watford to the King Power, while Southampton play host to Norwich. Matt Doherty's Wolves meet West Ham, and Celtic and Rangers resume their Scottish Premier title battle this evening. Neil Lennon's leaders are looking to make it 11 wins in a row when they host Hamilton, while second-placed Rangers visit the side below them in the table, Aberdeen. The chairman of the county board is calling on the Waterford public to get behind St Mary's on Sunday afternoon in Mallow. The Tournina side will bid for their first ever Munster Junior Club hurling title when they take on Cork outfit Russell Rovers in the provincial final. Paddy Jo Ryan says it's a huge occasion for St Mary's.
We're hoping that, that they can pull it off. It'll be just absolutely great. It isn't easy when we're playing Cork, and junior hurling in Cork is not an easy ask. There's so many teams in it. I suppose there could be 40 or 50 teams in junior hurling in Cork probably. So again, it's a tough ask, but I think St Mary's are up for it now, and they've overcome a lot of obstacles this year on their way, and I think it'd be great if they could pull it off.
Sunday's Deciders underway at 1 o'clock in the Mallow GA complex, and Moss McCarthy will have updates here on WLR. Waterford athlete David McGlynn is heading to Lisbon this week to compete in the Under-23 European Cross Country Championships. The Waterford AC member is part of the Irish team who will be hoping to get a podium position in Portugal.
We have a very strong team going into it anyway, and Ireland has a great tradition at European Cross Country, so hopefully if we all run a race, I don't think there's any reason why we can't be well up the field team-wise, and hopefully hopefully challenge them for a medal. But definitely me personally, it's the biggest occasion I've ran on anyway, but I think I'll kind of thrive on that and hopefully give me an extra little boost running on such a big stage. And there is a bit of experience in the team as well, with a few lads having ran at Eurocross before, so hopefully with that mix then the team will perform well.
And that's the latest on WLR. Our next bulletin